No, replied Falcon, I'll lead. How can I learn the route with you lumbering ahead and blocking the view? Suit yourself, said Duke, but never mind the view. Look at the track. The engine set off.
Duke is named after His Grace, the Duke of Sodor, and originally would belong to the Mid-Sodor Railway. He's one of the oldest engines on the island of Sodor, and would first appear in the Railway series book Duke the Lost Engine, which was published in 1970. His last appearance in the Railway series was in New Little Engine, published in 1996, and Duke's affectionate nickname of Grandpuff that was given to him by Stewart and Falcon was actually the same nickname that Wilbert Awdry was given by his grandchildren, which was due to their observation of smoke coming from his pipe looking like that of a steam engine. Duke is based on the engine Prince, an 040S TT engine on the Festiniog Railway, and the story of Bulldog actually happened on the Festiniog Railway with Prince, and another 040 tank engine who's now a 240 tender engine named Linda, who derailed at what is now known as Linda's Leap. The story of Duke being rediscovered is also based on a true story, this one being on Coronel Church, an engine who would be abandoned in a Brazilian rainforest, and the second source which would inspire Sleeping Beauty was the rescue of Cadeby Light Railway's Pixie by Teddy Boston. Something that I also find super cool is Duke's bassist Prince and Palmerston, which is a sister locomotive, have both been actually dressed up as Duke in the past, which is something I personally would have tied to see. Duke is probably my favorite narrow gauge character, and I'm so excited that he won this week's poll. But getting back into the history of Duke, the Reverend would actually build a model of Duke in 009 scale, all for his layout of the Mid-Sodor Railway. Duke's model was actually donated by Awdry and put on display at the Cadeby Light Railway. In 2005, unfortunately the railway would close, and now the model, other engines, and layout are currently in the care of the Awdry family. In 1994, Duke would finally be introduced to the Thomas & Friends television series, this being in Season 4, which placed a great focus on the narrow gauge characters. In 1998, however, during Season 5's production, larger scale models of the narrow gauge engines would be introduced, and due to budget constraints, no model of Duke would ever be built in this scale, which attributes to why he never appears after Season 4. However, the model of Duke that was built, his small-scale model, was O-scale, and custom-built from brass by model maker Peter Eves. He ran on O-gauge track to the gauge 1 scale standard, and was painted using glossy car body paint and lined with yellow pinstripe tape, with his nameplates being custom-printed foil stickers. Duke's drive wheels were sourced from Tin Spokes tramway driving wheels made by Slater's Plasticard, and his tender wheels were sourced from Tin Spokes LNER 02 bogie wheels. These wheels were actually used on an O-gauge locomotive chassis, and Duke would use rods that were directly fitted from an 00 scale Triang Hall class, with very little modification. These rods wouldn't fit well, and Duke would run notoriously poorly behind the scenes. There were 10 different facial expressions all sculpted for Duke, but only 8 would ever be used on screen, and all during Season 4. His shocked and surprised faces would be left unused, not like they had the perfect time to use them. The model itself would only have enough room for the motor, chassis, and eye mechanism. There wasn't enough room for a smoke mechanism or the battery and receiver, which were needed for his remote control eyes. Wires connecting to the battery, servo, and receiver were usually hidden off camera or carried in behind the engine. His servos would be hidden by blacking out his cab windows and doors. His eyes would frequently jam due to their limited range of movement, and although the model itself didn't produce smoke, smoke would be released from the set under it, creating the illusion that he did produce smoke. Nearly all of the drivers and firemen for the small-scale locomotives were cut down the middle and black-tacked to the engine's cab, mostly because the servos for the eye mechanisms wouldn't allow them to stand up in them. The small-scale model was only used as Duke in Season 4, and appeared via stock footage in Season 7, this being in Harold and the Flying Horse, but after that wouldn't be seen again, at least as Duke, since in Season 5, due to budget constraints, Duke's model was painted a dark brown and given Smudger's face mask, then being called Bertram. Bertram was later reverted back into Duke in 2004. However, his model was incorrectly painted a lighter shade of brown, and his buffer beam was not painted red. This error would also transition onto Trackmaster and Wooden Railway toys released in 2009. In 2018, Duke's model, along with his grinning face mask and name board, were acquired by Twitter user Thomas Tankmerch. The model was missing various parts that either had to be rebuilt, found, or replaced for him. For example, Thomas Tankmerch first received Duke without his tender, so using reference images, a replica tender was built, only for Thomas Tankmerch to later acquire the original tender. You win some, you lose some, I guess. I'd just be proud that I made a replica that looks that accurate. believe it or not, Duke did have a close-up model built, unfortunately only appearing in Sleeping Beauty and Bulldog, which was required for scenes where he had to interact with close-up scale figures. The cab was made in pieces, so it was able to be dismantled and reassembled for the use of interior shots if required. And unlike most close-up models, the one for Duke was built as a complete engine, and had two facial expressions sculpted for it, being his happy and annoyed and determined face. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what became of this model. But as a dressing for the large-scale sets, a portrait of Duke was made. The portrait itself being illustrated by art director Robert Gauld Galliers, and was roughly 80mm in length and 60mm in width. The portrait appeared in Season 4 and 5 at Tidmouth Sheds, Sir Topham Hatt's office, and in a signal box. And unfortunately, the history of Duke kind of ends there. In 2015, Sam Wilkinson expressed his interest to reintroduce Duke into the CGI series. He even appeared in storyboard concept art, as shown here in Kevin the Steamy, but this unfortunately would never come to fruition. And once again, all we're left with are those classic episodes. But honestly, that's not something I'm mad at. Duke was the hero of the railway before hero of the rails. And that's how he was to me as a kid too. And that was only helped by the way the show carried him, being told about through stories, and described by all of the engines as a hero for what would take place in Bulldog. Duke to me is a special character, and from what I've seen, it seems like most Thomas and Friends fans agree. So even though the show may have forgotten about him, and the history behind him is a bit limited, the story of triumph that is Grand Puff, whether you're looking at his bravery in Bulldog, or his eventual rescue in Sleeping Beauty, the story of Grand Puff, our hero, will always be one of the most capturing. And hopefully this video has taught you a little bit more about him.
But be careful, or you might run into danger, and Duke is not here to save you. Duke? Stuttered Toby. You mean our hero? A large painting of Duke hung in the engine shed.